So today, uh, we are actually going through the third class in the series of that robotics series that I was uh, like trying to take. And like before these two classes, we had first class like what is not robotics, and that was ran like two times. So we had the same class two times, and again, then we had like how to be part of robotics. And now today we have the most exciting class that how to start a robotic startup. So,
Okay.
so today's lecture will be mainly following one of the biggest YouTube content, you can say. So it was made by the founder of ChatGPT, Sam Altman. So he has a video from Stanford University. So, and with collaboration with his uh, first company, which is called Y Combinator. So Y Combinator actually supports or give like early stage support to startups. So they made a really big series of course that how actually a startup should be built. And in following that, I have followed that class very nicely and tried to summarize and bring all the gist of that information to all of you so that you guys can follow this methodology to build your own robotic startup. So in the last classes, I gave you motivation about why to become part of robotics and how you can be part of robotics. And with that part being said, that there was okay, so I'll just start the slideshow so it'll be more clear. Is it clear now?
Yes, everything is clear.
Okay. So someone has messaged something. Okay, it's maybe you, right? Okay. So this is just the profile that I usually show to everyone so that you guys know that and why I'm like coming where I'm coming from. And this is the flashback of the last class, especially where we talked about robot dealership and integrators. And we had robotic startups, and then also robotics engineer and technician track. And we also had a Kahoot session last class, and it was a bit exciting. But today we'll not have a Kahoot class, and the class participants are also less. So it's a good way to today introduce an assignment, which will be an idea generating assignment. Like end of the class, you will generate an idea and you'll use the content of this lecture slide to generate your own idea, like how you would have built your own robotic startup. So please follow the class carefully so that you can answer the question in the assignment and you can send it to my email that I will provide. And I will evaluate everyone's idea and then send them feedback through the email. And also I'll send some screenshots to Clara so that she also is aware of who has done how much. Okay. So this is the summary of today that to build a startup, we need four things. And basically, this will be taught throughout the class today. So we need idea, product, team, and execution. And to summarize this, like we know there are actually four key metrics of startup success. So this, if you have a great idea, if you have a great product, if you have a great team, and if you have a great execution. So this is the equation that they gave. And they were saying that it's idea times product times team times execution and times luck. So luck is a random number from 1 to 10,000 and literally that much. Some people can be really lucky and build $1 billion company, and some people can have all these things really good, but still if their luck doesn't stand up, they might not have $1 billion company, maybe $1 million or just somehow profitable company. But here we are talking about robotics, and we have talked in the earlier classes that the robotics in next 10 years will become really popular. It's already popular now, but later on, there will be a lot of development throughout the next 10, 2 to 3 decades, I would say, and robotics will flourish, hopefully. So that's why people who are investing their time into robotics, they should know a lot of ways to become part of robotics. And building your own startup is a really great way if you start right now. But how to have a great idea. That will be the first thing that we should talk about, right? So the idea comes first before anything else. Like if someone has an idea, only then he can think that, okay, I can maybe build and start up from that idea. So an idea should be something that it like feels like a really important mission. Like it cannot be like a just an idea to solve something. It should feel like a mission that if you accomplish that, it alone without if like if you even don't earn any money, without earning money, if that mission is completed, it already feels like an accomplishment. So that kind of idea should be generated. And you always need to remember that you have to solve a tough problem, not an easy one. Because let's say if you are after solving a really easy problem, anyone can imitate that. Anyone can copy your idea if it's very easy. So if you're solving a very tough problem, and if you had like spent 2 to 3 years solving that problem, and when the product comes out, nobody can copy the product just like that. They also need to solve that thing, and they cannot copy if you already have patents over your idea. So that's why it has to be a really tough problem. And to know what is tough problem, you need to research on uh, people and also the need of robotics. Let's say try to find out a problem which is really hard for nowadays to solve. And if there is already robotics product existing in today for that problem, so that problem is not maybe that much difficult right now. So we should always think about a problem which is not solved yet, or maybe only a few people are solving it. Okay. And another very important thing is that the market where you are going to be targeting has to be really small and specific. So we call a word for that, like it's called niche. So you have to have a niche market so that even if the number of customers are very less, you will like easily can sell your product, or like you can test your product with those people. Now, why you want to target a small specific market, we'll go further in the next page. But if you don't do it, if the market size is really big, you're targeting a mass market, then if that problem is actually worth that much, then large companies like Google, Microsoft, Facebook, they have a lot of money and they will go after that idea first. So like you as a person, probably with not that much money and manpower, will be stuck, and like they will take your idea and they will try to finish the product. So that's why you should focus on a product that is very niched. So think about it. If it's like a AI or a very big problem, like which is kind of like people are trying to solve right now. So like a lot of big companies like Google, Microsoft, OpenAI, even like a company of Elon Musk, like they are calling it Grok AI. Then also there is a big Chinese company, DeepSeek. Even Facebook has its own AI. So like if someone is trying to build the same like model like chat gpt, he will have really hard time to competing with these really big companies, because these big companies are targeting almost the whole uh, world. Like they are covering not only their own United States, they are trying to cover almost the whole world. So that much mass market, if we try to like target it, that will be really difficult. So always in a business, and especially in startup, you should start with a niche market. Maybe you have only few customer, but that's your advantage, because companies like Google, Facebook, they will not go after those small profits. They will always try to chase bigger profits. So those small profits are your first beginning. But when you slowly build your company, then you can take over larger marketplace. So that's very important. So this is kind of like the comparison of niche market versus mass market. So it's very important to note, because today's assignment will be kind of like you need to understand this concept better and you have to generate an idea around this. Okay, so another big question that like Sam Altman was saying, that he always gets this question from investors. The investors are actually the one who invest their money on startups, because startups usually start with zero funding. They don't have like any funding, and they try to build a product, and slowly they raise funding so that they can hire more people and build a great product. And from there, like that funding will be used to pay salaries to their team. So when investors are trying to invest on any startup, they are usually asking the wrong question. So Sam Altman was saying that uh, the wrong question is usually they were asking like, how big is your market? Like whenever someone comes with an idea, they are always being asked with this question. So he was saying that that's actually a wrong thing to ask, because the market shouldn't be big at this point. It should be big somewhere around after 10 years. Because if it's big now, and if I am working from now in that market, I'm more likely not going to succeed well, because bigger markets will be conquered by bigger companies. And for us, we should target a market which is a growing market rather than a big market. Okay, it cannot be only a small, like a niche. Also, we have to make sure that the niche is slowly growing, like robotics is slowly growing. And if we think about human labor, it's slowly decreasing. So it's very important. Like if you, let's say, want to open a garage cleaning company, and if your main goal is to hire more people to clean the garage, you're more likely to fail, because the cost to hire people is increasing, while like like incorporating robots for cleaning the garage, that cost is decreasing. So you will have a really good time making robots or buying robots and like giving that service, rather than trying to make a business around people and labor. So you need to focus on which markets are a growing market rather than a big market. So that's a very important thing. And another important thing is that when a market is growing and it's having a really tough problem, okay, so the customers are really desperate. So you'll be seeing that they just want a solution because they're really desperate. And even if you can give him a moderate solution, it doesn't have to be really like premium solution. They're happy with it because that's somehow like doable, and they are relieved of their problem. So that's a very big benefit of like targeting a small and a growing market, I'd say. So these are the very important parts of like the idea generation. So without the idea generation, you'll not have a really good product. So always have to make sure that the idea is good enough, then move into the product phase. Obviously, don't take too long to generate your idea. Ideally, it should be around 3 months, and like it can go near to 1 year, but not more than that. Because if you have an idea and if you try to think too much, overthink with one idea and don't go into a product stage, you'll most likely not have an product that the customer likes. So your goal is to also talk with people with your idea so that you can find you are in a place that you are getting more good feedbacks about your idea, and people are saying that yeah, if that was a product, I would have definitely bought that. So then only you will start working on the product. So so the first goal when you're building the product, which is the second part of our lesson today, so that should be building something that the user love. Okay, so what is building something that the user love? So you need to know that if you have built something and you are, let's say, in the middle of a really busy road and you are putting that product in front of everyone, and if it's something that the user will love, they will obviously look at it and come close to you and ask a question. What is this? It looks really good, but I want to know what it does, right? So that kind of impression is generated when something looks really fascinating and the user instantly gets a click and goes near to you and asks like if it's something that will solve some of their problems. So let's say if you have a really amazing product, but it's something more technical, not user friendly at the beginning, then people might not even like come close to it, although it's a really good product, but they will never know without coming close to it. So it has to look really lovable. It has to be more attractive so that people are curious about it. So that's the very first thing about a product. And also, you have to you have to talk to customers about that product. If people don't come to you naturally, you have to go to them and you have to ask them, look at this product. This is a robot that I've made. Uh, can I can you use it for once or twice and can you give me your honest feedback how this product is? So if we go to more people and take their feedback, then also the product will try to improve over time. Because your goal should be in a startup that you should build a product, but you should iterate fast so that iterating fast means you have to take a feedback and again improve the product, again take a feedback, again improve the product. And this process is called iteration. So if you don't iterate fast, again, the same problem with like overthinking about the idea, and also it will be kind of like over engineering the product. So you'll never want to be in a situation where you are trying to over engineer the product, and after working too much, you're going to the public and they give you a really bad feedback. And then you realize that like, okay, so this is over for me. But it was actually not over. What you did was you didn't take more feedbacks from customers. So this is a very, very, very important part that has to be coming from us as an CEO of the startup. So generally, we are using this term MVP in like building a product, and that MVP stands for minimum viable product. But nowadays, people are saying that don't build an MVP, rather build an MLP. So the difference is that uh, like I have put three examples over here. So one is MVP, one is MMP, and one is MLP. So the main difference is in the way you present the idea in a product. So all three are ice creams, but you can see that there is the second one has a love shape, which attracts more user. But the third one has a cherry on the top, which looks more attractive. Although all are ice creams and it will satiate the same thing and you'll feel the same taste, but it's the look. It makes you come close to it and buy that. Just like a kid is more fascinated towards more colorful toys. And same way, if the design speaks in a lovable way, people are more attracted to that product and will more likely ask you or send message to you that, oh, I have seen your product in Instagram, looks really great. Uh, like what you're actually planning to do. And those sort of questions, when you try to start answering them, then a lot of discussions will happen, a lot of feedbacks you'll get, and you can like set your course from there. So it's very important you to build an MLP rather than just build a minimum viable product which just serves your idea but actually does nothing towards the customer. Okay, I hope the thing is clear because I did a lot of research in the last few days on this. So this is an example of a lovable product. I know that the lecture actually doesn't allow us to show any YouTube videos, but it's very important for me to show a current latest startup video, like where in this video, what I'm aiming is to show you that how a minimum viable product compares to an actual minimum lovable product. So this guy is an CEO of a company that I also talked about in the last class. Like their company name is Shafi Robotics. So he will like discuss about his own product, and he'll also say that what his product looked like before and what it looked like after. And in here, he'll also introduce his team because the next part will be mostly about the team. So please let me know if the
My name
sound
is Hassan Bashut. I'm the CEO and founder of Shefi Robotics here in Austin. We're a robotics company that designs robotic chefs for the home. They're the world's first built-in robotic chefs. They get embedded into your existing kitchen. And as soon as they're in, we can literally talk to your kitchen. Alexa, let's cook.
Welcome to Sheppy. You can say something like make strawberry pancakes or make a salad.
I owned restaurants for over a decade in San Francisco. My dream was to automate more and more of the restaurants, to allow my staff to just really focus on the customers.
My friend Asaf reached out to me and told me he was working on this project. He called it back then 7D Robotics. And I assisted in constructing basically an entire commercial kitchen that was roboticized.
It had this huge robotic arm. It was moving, sliding on a rail back.
So here I'll stop for a second and show you that this was his MVP, where he had a really big robotic arm and a really big kitchen where that arm was moving around the whole kitchen and picking up food and picking up all the items and then putting it to the cooker. And then the cooker also is really large size. So he himself will say in this part of this video that you don't want that kind of thing to dangle around in your kitchen because it's not safe. If someone enters the kitchen, he might get hurt. So it's very difficult, but it solves the cooking part, right? So that's the minimum viable product. That means the functionality that you want is there, but people will not love it. So people will love something that he actually made it later on. So I would like you to see more 1 minute of the video to look at the product and how actually it does the work.
It took us about 9 months. It was amazing. But at the end of the day, it was a big robotic arm. It was kind of slow. It was also dangerous.
About a year later, he reached out to me again and said that he's interested in developing this product further.
We pivoted to residential because no one's doing that. Things are calling themselves robotic chefs, but they don't even have robotic systems inside. But we've been able to accomplish everything that you see here now over the last 3 years by keeping our team very small and attracting very good talent. We found a kid in Bangladesh that was this phenom in electronics.
I think the specialty I bring to Chefy is mainly problem solving in the firmware, sometimes in the code, sometimes different mechanical challenges, just debugging problems we run into.
And this kid is from Bangladesh, just the place that I live in. And I actually talked to him and about his startup that he was working on. So initially he was working remotely with them. So even that was really tough. But Ashraf didn't have any choice because he was limited in funding. But actually that was a really good move. In the next slide, I'll show you that why Ashraf's move was really great. He didn't want to build a really big company and pay salary to everyone. Although like that would be beneficial, but he chose a different path. So he hired a kid from Bangladesh, whereas their company is in US. Okay, so that's also something that I'll show you in the next slide.
Found a young engineer here in Austin that's so extremely passionate.
They had a dream and I agreed with that dream and I thought that I could add to that. First got involved with the project by reaching out to Indeed post about designing a machine that could help make food, and I saw a lot of potential with that.
We also had to wear a lot of hats. I had to learn how to code, design, understand electronics, understand mechanical systems. We had to really evolve in order to not hire very, very expensive engineers, whereas normally a project like this would cost millions. We were able to do it with just $300,000 or $400,000.
You saw that, right? He told that even for a guy like him, he was actually a chef. But when he became a founder of this kind of company, he actually started learning coding and also some mechanical engineering to build this product, because he was saying that if we were to do that with a lot of engineers, it would have costed us like 2 to 3 millions. But they just saved that money and they built that whole product with maybe only $300,000 to $400,000. So that's something amazing. And you know that like if you want to be a CEO and start your own startup, you have to wear a lot of hats. You have to do your own marketing. Sometimes you have to do the engineering stuff. Even though you are not from an engineering background, you have to learn and you have to quickly iterate and build a product really fast and bring on those people who can do it without burning too much money. So I hope it's a bit clear that how they're like they have done this in their company. And from that, I'll also move into the next part of our class. So this part is the user feedback. So when you build a product, then you want like user feedback, right? So you go to the person and you are likely to ask them a few questions. So what those questions should look like. So the first question should look like that. What do they like? Like if you have built a product like the product that I just showed in the YouTube video, so you need to ask questions in a way that they give you more honest feedback. not in a way that they makes you happy and say, oh yeah, yes, your product is really good, and then just pass around. No, you have to be more brutal. You have to ask them questions in such a way that they give you your honest feedback. And if there is something wrong with the product, they just say that, okay, maybe that could be improved. I really don't like the way it's cooking or something like that. So you have to ask that, and you have to like repeatedly say these words, like give your honest feedback. Don't try to make me happy or like put some smile on my face. You have to give me an honest feedback because I don't want to be wasting my time building something which actually the people don't like. So you have to ask that first. And then you have to also ask that if they're saying that, yeah, I like your product, and you are not sure that if they like it or not, then the second question would be, would you pay for that if you actually build that product? And that is the second deal breaker. Like if they actually don't like the product and they're saying that, yeah, it's really good, but when you ask this question, and that time, like it's kind of like alarming for them. And uh, you can also say some words which people are using like that, like we're actually building and our first order will be ready by the next after the 3 months. And would you be pre-ordering this? Like if you actually like it. At that time, you'll understand that they'll say, oh, actually, I don't like, they'll come up with an excuse. If they are likely to come up with an excuse, a very big one, then you'll understand that maybe they're hiding something. So you should get more feedbacks until your product is really that good. Okay. And right now, nowadays, this was a really lecture that was from 10 years back. And nowadays, what they are doing, like new startups are doing, they are trying to get user feedbacks from online, social media, like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. They are trying to post their idea product too much vigorously and trying to get attention of their targeted customers, their niche, and they are trying to get feedback from them, and they are trying to ask them questions. Anybody who is showing interest in it, they are trying to connect with them and talk them through this process of getting the user feedback. So I hope it's clear that you need a lot of feedback if you actually want to improve your product. And not only improving your product, in any improvement, there has to be having feedback. Let's say if I want to get better as an engineer, I need feedback. That's why we give exams. We make mistakes, and then the examiner corrects it. And then again, we understand, okay, we shouldn't make these mistakes again. And we go repeatedly in this process. And it takes us 10 years to pass that O level or like the K2 level. So you can understand with this long process of feedbacks and examinations, we get slowly better. So human being is all about feedbacks, and so is a product. Like if you want to build a really amazing product, you need to have a lot of user feedbacks. And also another last question would be, would you make them recommend it? Like, would they take a photo and share in their own Instagram or Facebook page and recommend your product to their network? So that is also a question that you can ask. So these three questions are really something that can set the wheel for you. Okay. So that's how the product and the idea is. And I have also showed you some about the team, and I'll discuss them thoroughly. And I've written some few points over here so that I can go through those points really quickly. But this will be later elaborated in the next class, because building a really good team is really tough. And even I have my own startup and I can understand the pain of it. So building a really winning team that can build you a really good company has a lot of things to do with understanding the matrix and understanding the things that needs to be done in order to have a really great team. Okay, so the first thing will be the co-founder and the equity split. Okay, so people who are interested in building their own startup, they know what the equity looks like. Equity is the percentage, that means the 100% that a owner owns when he makes an idea and the idea becomes slowly a company. But slowly he has to split his equity. He has to give some equity to his investor in return of some money, or he has to give some equity to his co-founder in return of some effort from the co-founder. And I don't mean some, it has to be almost equal if they want to equally split the equity. So usually co-founder splits are 50-50, but in some cases, the co-founder split is like 30 to 70. So if you guys have watched the movies, The Social Network, they actually depict the biography of Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of uh, Facebook. So the CEO of Facebook, he had 70% equity and his friend had 30% equity in the beginning. And slowly those were diluted. And that in that movie also there was a lot of things about uh, the diluted, uh, like the 30% diluted to a very really insignificant percentage, and that's why they had um, a huge fight in that movie. And like if anyone watches that, it would be really great for them to understand how actually the co-founder and the equity split is very important and what can happen later on if they don't take this seriously in the beginning of their startup journey. So who to be like who should be your ideal co-founder? So in universities, it has been seen that whenever they are building some kind of startup, they usually go to their class and randomly pick someone who is interested in the idea only and makes him the co-founder. So it's a very bad thing to do. They should be very brutal in choosing the co-founder. Firstly, you have to know the co-founder really well. At least you have to know them for 2 to 3 years, know them that how their mentality is, how strong their need for this kind of entrepreneurial idea. Like you need to understand, if you are building a startup, you need to understand that if you have a risk-taking mentality, but does the person who you are planning to get as a co-founder, does he have that same mentality of taking high risk? Okay, so if that guy is not risky, then the problem will be that whenever you are trying to make a decision which is risky, the co-founder will come and say that no, 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 we shouldn't do that. We should try to do this rather than this. So there will be really difficulty in taking decisions. So the best way to know, the best way is that know your co-founders first, or when you're building a startup, you should hire people who are more likely to be just like you, and they are in a risk-taking mentality rather than a conservative mentality. And the equity split also comes with vesting that you should be having. Like you shouldn't give away 50% of your percentage equity just like that. It should be that there has to be some kind of commitment that they should make, almost like they have to stay at least 4 years with you to earn that 50%. Actually, in a word of mouth, it can be 50-50, but in pen and papers, you should only write it after a certain amount of time. So there has to be a vesting for that. And we'll talk about that later in the next class in more details, so that whoever actually planning to make their own startup doesn't make these silly mistakes. Okay, so the second thing is that try not to hire. So it might sound really really weird that why we shouldn't hire. So Dr. Wilson might know this very well. Like every small company or every big company starts with a very small team, and every company only flourishes when this small group of people are taking too much challenges, having a trust relationship, and then only the company is hiring more people and becoming bigger and bigger. So with your first few employees, maybe with your 3 and 4 employees, you might have to spend almost like 4 to 5 years even. And then only if you see a really good day, then slowly you will make your employee size more. So it's really weird that when companies are asked this question that if their company is a really like what is the size of the company, and if they come up with a really big number, they are getting more like claps and praises. But when a company comes with a number like 3 and 4, there's like an awful reaction in the face that you can see. But actually having a low employee is something to be proud of. So it's that words that lecturer was saying that it's something to be proud of, that if you have very fewer employees, because fewer employees is peace. You don't want to burn out too much, because having more employees, that means that you have to give more salaries. And if it doesn't come up with a meaningful task that they are actually uh, getting things done, so it's meaningless to put that much money and burn that much money early on. So it's very important that you don't have that much hiring in the first place. And if you hire, what you should do is hire the best people. So that's the point number 3. So you should always go for hiring the best people, not mediocre people. Like whoever you are hiring, if you have the chance, hire the best one, because you will only want to hire only few of them. So never hire someone mediocre and expect they will learn and grow with you and take similar risks. That is which is something that aligns with your personality. Okay, so you should focus on qualities like are they really smart? So if they are not smart, you shouldn't hire them. And do they get things done? Because like they might be really skilled or maybe too much knowledgeable, but if they take too long to get things done, then it's probably not a good way to like not a good idea to hire them. So you have to have this answered first. And also another thing, that do I want to spend a lot of time around them? Because if they are not friendly enough, that if you don't want to spend time yourself with them, maybe you shouldn't hire them. Because hiring people who are most likely a bit rude and someone that's something you cannot be friendly with them, it's very hard to work with these people. So you should always hire people who are really friendly and people that you like spending time with. And also there should be some skills that you should look for apart from the skill for that they are hired. If they're, let's say they are hired for a marketing role, they should know how to market. That's something, it's a no-brainer. But still with them, there has to be some soft skills, like they need to have good communication skills. So that's something in a startup, there is no other way of like compromising this, because if you build a product, you need to take user feedbacks. And to take user feedbacks with your very small amount of team, everybody should be a good marketer. Everybody should go to a lot of people, talk to a lot of people, take their feedback. If someone is not a good communication specialist, they will be hesitating to go to someone and take their feedback. So you shouldn't take that risk, and you should hire someone who is really open and goes to a lot of people, can take the feedbacks, because those early people are your main that early team is your main capital, you can say, because you don't have that much money, but you have a team. So that capital should be used wisely. And nextly, you need to know that if your employee, the one you're hiring, is really determined, like he's also as determined as you, like you want to solve that problem, and he should be similarly determined to solve that problem. It's not like after 6 months he will say that, okay, I'm tired of it, I'm giving up, okay, we should split our ways, I should look for a different job. It shouldn't be like that. You need to ask him questions like, how long do you want to grind and stay with this problem until it's solved? And if the answer is somewhere between 4 to 5 years, then that's a guy for you. If the answer is like 1 year, that's very difficult. So you can have some kind of contract with them that you have to stay for that much long. And if someone hesitates with that, then maybe they're not the right guy. So it's very important. Like they have to spend a lot of time with you. And the last thing is, okay, the last thing comes with fire fast. That means this is very hard pill to swallow. But yes, when in startups, when things are not working out, you need to fire them as quickly as you find out that something is going really wrong. And few people become really uh, I would say emotional over here, and they don't fire fast. Rather, they wait too long, and they are still hopeful that employee will improve or fix themselves somehow. But more or less 90% time, that's never the case. Only 10% times employees fix themselves. But no matter how much feedback you give to this kind of employees, it's very difficult to deal with them later on. So it's rather fire them first and hire a new one and teach them, and maybe that guy can be a better part of the team. So what are the two indicators that you should you should fire them? So first one is that the employee who gets involved in office politics. So it's very important that if someone is getting involved in office politics and there is a lot of things going around under your nose, you don't know what's happening. So as soon as you find it out, and if you verify that, yes, that guy is doing some office politics, you should fire them. And another thing is that someone who spreads negativity. So he's always like in the negative side of the execution. Like whenever you come up with an idea and let's say, let's do this, and he's on the other side. No, 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 we shouldn't do this. We should do that. So that's a very bad mentality that will be really hard to deal with in the long run. So you should fire these people as fast as possible, because in your team, your whole team, even if it's like a 5 people team, you want everybody to have the same heart. They are thinking the same thing like you. Right? Okay, so that's a very important thing that startups need. Like a startup like Facebook, Google, they were a very small idea and a very small team at the first. It was not even that much good looking, but their full team was ideally, I would say, like having the same mentality and the same direction. They didn't think about a different way out. They were almost like if it was Facebook, all were thinking same way as Zuckerberg was doing. So, like, I would say that it is very important that you should fire the negative and toxic and the employees who are involved in office politics really fast. Okay, so the last thing is execution. Okay, so we have more 13 minutes. I will try to cover this with 10 minutes, and the last 3 minutes will be to explain the assignment question to you guys. So the people who have joined late, I will say that today we have a really interesting assignment rather than a Kahoot session or a quiz homework. So this assignment, I would recommend not to use AI. I would recommend use your own creativity and try to come up with an idea, and I'll show the details later on the last page. So execution is is the fourth part. So if we remember, there was 4 parts. One is the idea, one is your product, third is your team, and execution comes the last. So these are the four pillars of uh, building a startup, I'd say. So without these 4 pillars, even without one of these pillars, it's nothing. And execution is I would say, the most important part after all these 3, because idea is zero without execution. And I would say, like, everybody knows that. Like, someone can plan and the whole day a lot of things, but if that is not executed, it's actually meaningless. It's actually zero. So an execution is the most important part for idea to become something. And who is the main executor? So I have explained it in the first line that CEO actually stands for Chief Executive Officer. So you are actually the main like the guy who executes the operation. So you cannot expect you to like hire someone else and that guy will do the job for you. You have to be the one executing the thing. Let's say just a separate example without robotics example. Let me say that uh, you want let's say you always see your streets are dirty, someone going by and having a trash can, like having some kind of Coca-Cola can, he just throw it on the streets and nobody cleans it. Okay, now if you want to be the chief executive officer, you have to have the mentality of being the first one taking that step to clean that thing. So if you show that way, you'll see that some people will follow you. And when some people are following you, slowly you will have a big line of people that they are following you. So you cannot expect that execution to come from your team members first. Rather, you have to be the first guy setting the goals, setting the vision as in CEO. So let's say another example, like if you build a team and everybody shows up at a different time, nobody is disciplined. It's probably because you are not disciplined as well. So if you show them that you are bringing the discipline first, you are coming just early in the morning, exactly at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m., then others will follow along. And if you're not doing it, if you're doing, let's say 12 p.m. some days 3 p.m., and some days even earlier than the actual office time, that will also like create a culture into the employee's mind that we can be flexible, we can come anytime at our office. So if you show discipline, your team members will show discipline. If you show good morale, your team members will show good morale. If you show good frugal nature, not wasting too much resources and money, your team members will also do the same. So you have to do it yourself first and show them how to do it, not expect that the employees will do and execute on themselves. So that being said, there are almost like 5 things that a CEO should do at least every time. First thing is that set vision. You have to also raise money. So that means you have to talk to the investors. You have to be evangelist, and you have to also hire and manage. And also you have to make sure the entire company executes. Okay, so yes, you show them the door, but after you execute 1 or 2 times, you cannot be executing every time. You have to now wait for your employees to also do it, and then review and give feedback to them so that they start executing. And then comes focus. Okay, then comes focus and intensity. So your focus should be in somewhere, and your intensity of your work will be on somewhere. So the focus should be, you have to choose the most important tasks of your whole startup. You cannot do everything. You have to, let's say there are 12 to 15 tasks the whole company needs to get done. You have to be the one choosing the most difficult task, at least 2 to 3 tasks. So that's a really big point that you have to focus on. So you have to always think about the easier tasks can be done by others, but the most difficult tasks has to be handled by the CEO. So in most companies, talking to the investor is most important. So the CEOs usually talk to mostly the investor, pitching them, trying to speak to them. And also you have to manage the whole team. So that's 2 or 3, I would say, the most important tasks. You cannot let hiring managers manage your engineering team, because that will be really bad idea, because they don't know what works actually the engineering people will be doing. So they will just go there, micromanage, and ruin the team. So you have to handle the management task as well, because that's very important. And you have to learn to say no a lot. Like a lot of people will come and say that, sir, we are not getting this done. And you have to say no a lot of things in the company, because you have to focus on doing only 2, 3 tasks. So you have to say them, try to find a way how to get that thing done, rather than coming back to me again and again. So that's one way that things will be done in a really efficient way. And intensity, it's something that comes with like you have to take quicker decisions. So it's very important. Like if you don't take quicker decisions, if you take too much time to take a decision, you're not getting that. Your team members are waiting for that decision, and they are actually sitting idle at that whole moment. So if you take the decision fast, they will not be idle, and they will just go and get things done. And another thing will be that you have to be biased towards action, not too much biased towards planning. Like I've seen like teams do a lot of planning, but they are very bad at taking actions to implement those planning. So you have to be task oriented rather than plan oriented, because plan oriented is very easy, task oriented is very difficult. And the last thing is that get things done. So like investors usually say that the CEOs who gets things done are the best CEOs. The CEOs are really good at planning and ideation and making their product better, are not that much good unless if they are not executing things really well. So that's almost the end of the lecture, and this is the assignment question. I hope the time is there still. Do you have some time, Dr. Benson? I think there's more 5 minutes.
Yes, let's try to take full advantage of the remaining minutes then.
Okay, so can everyone note this question and maybe take a screenshot with their devices? And I actually sent the last lecture slide to Clara. She asked for it. So I'll again send this lecture slide today to Clara so that she can send everyone this lecture slide. And you guys can take the full advantage of the whole things that I've talking over here. And obviously, you guys have a really good culture of taking this video and documenting it into the Facebook and YouTube page so that you guys can go back to it and watch it later on if you guys are more interested. So here the question is that I want you guys to propose a robotics startup targeting a specific industrial niche. And for example, a dog waste cleaning robot. And the specific industrial niche will be there rather than a mass market. Okay. So it could be just a cleaning robot, but we are here trying for a specific niche, a dog waste cleaning robot. Maybe you can even take this idea, the dog waste cleaning robot, and try to come up with a problem. Why is this niche a niche right for automation? That means a really good time to act on it. Why? And the tech, what are the actual sensors and actuators that will be used for it? And scaling, how you grow your company. So you will write a 50 word, a 500 words proposal. If it's less, don't worry. Like it's very easy to write a really 1,000 word proposal with AI, but I don't really want you to use AI. So even if it's like 300 word proposal, I'm okay with it if it's generated by you. So take your time, take the whole week, write something, what comes to your mind, iterate it, and then send me an email. I'll send you my feedback and I'll send you that how out of, let's say, out of 10, how your idea ranks with others. And I will also send some screenshots and let's say I will note this in an Excel sheet and try to score you, all of you guys, and then I'll send it to Clara. And I will send this assignment screenshot to Clara as well so that she double checks with you all so that everybody gets part of this, gets to part of this assignment. So now the lecture is over and now I'm okay to take some questions from you guys. I'm really sorry, last class I couldn't take any questions. We had a really long Kahoot session. Uh, okay, so this class I'll take a lot of questions. But note that the questions should be within the topics that we discussed today. Shouldn't be something really outside. So it should be more focused to what we have discussed today. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Muhammad Al Shiraj. You always deliver in this world of artificial intelligence and robotics. We need those ideas, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you take the appropriate steps to have full advantage of this opportunity offered by Atlantic International University. We don't have too much time for questions, but we will take some anyway. But remember the assignment proposed by Professor Shivraj. He's looking for a proposal of a robotic startup targeting a specific industrial niche. For example, a dog waste cleaning robot rather than in the mass market. So just think about it. And you have a few days, like Professor Shiraj mentioned, in this assignment, where you have his email address. The email address, as a matter of fact, is still on your screen right now. Make sure you focus very well and then send your proposal to him, about 500 words, and you'll be okay. 500 word proposal without using the help of AI. And Professor Shiraj points out that it is for your own sake, which means if you copy something from an AI platform, then you are kind of cheating yourself out of the opportunity to master this topic. Let's go to the questions real quick, beginning now with Daniel Bertrand. Before I open up your microphone, Daniel, I want to apologize to everybody who was not aware of the time change. Saturday night here in the United States, last week, for example, at the same kind of moment, it would have been just 10 o'clock for the beginning of the session. But right now, it is 11 o'clock and 52 seconds. It's just because of that time change. So make sure you understand this issue, brothers and sisters, so that you can manage to be kind of on time tomorrow and other days of the week. Daniel Bertrand, this is your time. Go ahead. We are open for your question, brother.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Hi.
Yes, I am so sorry I was a little bit late this morning.
That's it.
Thank you, Professor, for your presentation. It was very clear. But my question is, I don't know if I have to present myself as the first day in class.
That's okay.
My name is Daniel Bertrand. I am from Haiti. Uh, my I am I am a student on like healthcare administration.
All right. Let's try to
But
go straight to the question if you don't mind,
yes,
Daniel.
but my question is for the professor for the assignment. I don't know like if he can provide us some documentation and then like for the assignment because it should be difficult without
Sure.
assignment, without documents to go over.
Before I just go to Professor Shiraj for an answer, let me quick say that what he is looking for actually is your own proposal. It is not something that you're going to get from an outside world. It is your own proposal, whatever you observe your community, yourself, your house, or whatever those people might need you getting kind of looking into the future. Then you say, this is a good idea. This is what I'm coming up with, and this is how I hope to get this idea implemented. So let me ask Professor Shiraj to answer himself. Maybe I misinterpret the context. Professor Shiraj, I hope you heard the question from Daniel. What is your answer, please?
Okay, thank you, Daniel, for your question. Actually, yes, it would
Sure.
have been nice if I gave you a documentation, like a reference that is similar to what the assignment answer I am expecting from you. But here it's actually really basic. I think anyone having the uh, basic knowledge can understand that. I will explain the way to solve this question. Like you first find an idea that can maybe solve a problem that's right now is done by human. Okay, just for example, cleaning waste, dog waste is really tough job. Cleaning any waste is a really tough job, and because you don't want to be touching those things that you don't like, and there are some people still doing that. And if, let's say, in a place where there are lack of those people who are cleaning these kind of things, and you will need a robot for that. And so with that robot, you will you will be asked these three questions. You have to ask yourself that why is this a really good time to automate this process? Then you have to show why you want to bring this robot. Why not do this with a human being? You have to express that in words. And secondly, you have to do some research and you have to search the internet that what kind of sensors and actuators will be used to build this robot. And in that, if you do some research and uh, maybe you can take some AI help for answering this question, but the idea has to be your own. Okay, but you can take some general like knowledge from the AI that, okay, what kind of actuators and sensors can be used. And then when you get the answer, still you'll need to read them and you have to try to brainstorm and write it on your proposal. And then you have to also understand how you can scale the idea. Every idea needs to scale to become a really big company. If the idea is not scalable, if it's something that only be used with only a few people and never going to scale to the whole world, then it's a very bad idea to start with. So you have to find an idea first, and then you have to answer these three questions to make sure that the idea aligns with the lecture that we have taken today. And I think this will answer everyone that what this lecture is all about. I think a lot of people are joining now. What the problem was to like I can propose another thing that if this class is very important and if people are willing to, some people who have missed the class, maybe we can uh, do another class with before the next class in the series, so that the same class will be repeated if people like it, and if people already might know that this lecture will be documented into the Facebook and YouTube uh, like pages of AIU. So if you somehow miss this class, unfortunately, you guys can revisit and check the class.
Thank you very much for your clarification, Professor Shiraj. That was indeed a very powerful, interesting question from Daniel. Brothers and sisters, all you have to do is focus on the three questions from the assignment. Why is this niche ripe for automation? Why do you believe this idea can be used on a full scale for other people to use so that they can decide to build a robot to automate this activity? And then the second part, core sensors and actuators you believe might be used. And for this second point, you might eventually research the topic on the internet using AI if you prefer to get ideas about those sensors. And then how you expect for this idea to be implemented on a very large scale. It is, if it is something just to, let's say, clean your house, well, this might not be a good fit for the whole community. But bottom line, again, make sure you focus on this assignment, ladies and gentlemen, and if you get stuck somewhere, the professor's email address is also part of the assignment. You can see it and you can ask for feedback about what you have done so far. Let's go real quick as we don't have really too much time left. We run out of time long ago, but let's allow Cece Jules Habar, who was late like many other attendees. And again, I apologize, brothers and sisters. It is not your fault. I do understand the time has changed this past weekend. So make sure you understand that beginning this upcoming Monday or for this afternoon as assignment. Looking around, Cece Jules was raising hand. He has disappeared completely. And we are at the end of the session, unfortunately, brothers and sisters. But let's quickly have Botowe Cleopatra Williams ask the last question for this session. Go ahead, Cleopatra.
Thank you so much, Professor, and thank you, Dr. Fasin, for kindly helped us with it's now compulsory, but we kindly appeal to you. So please help us with the lecture notes and your email. And pertaining to the assignment, as you explained, what I gather is that I just had this thought just a while ago. Okay, of having a proposal for helping the ecosystems in our communities where we have to have some robot to help us with the grass cleaning. That means to have the place because you know that gasoline is expensive. We need to have the machine that will cut off the grass. So we need something like a robot that will help in the process. So can that be part of the proposal? Because that's what just clipped to my mind just while ago as you were explaining.
Yeah, that's very well. Like, I think that's a really good idea.
All right. Thank you very
Okay, please
much.
have all your email.
What did you say, Cleopatra?
Yeah, his email so that we email the assignment
The
or
email
the
is
proposal.
right now on the screen. Muhammad Dai Faisal at
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
nyzengineering.com. You see it?
Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing it. Thank you so much.
Okay. All
Thank
right,
you.
brothers and sisters, I do fully understand the situation today. You were not aware of the time change, and I want to offer you an apology on behalf of the entire Atlantic International University. But, kind of asking you to remember the time has changed. Right now it's 12 past 11 for me in North Miami Beach, United States. And of course, about 1 hour less than it could have been in your area. So make sure you take this into account prior to attending the next sessions. Later on today at 2 o'clock, that would be in Spanish, and every day at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in the United States. Uh, Thank you very much. Make sure you focus on the assignment proposed by Professor Muhammad Al Faisal Shiraj. I was in the process of writing an answer to Willie Chris Jefferson, who asked the question about what the assignment is, what the entire class was. I'm so sorry I didn't I didn't post my response to you, Willie. But my answer now is for everybody. I keep saying I am sorry. AIU is sorry for what has happened. It's not something that is under our control. The time has changed over the weekend. We had to advance our clock 1 hour to make it 11 instead of 10. Right now, 13 past 11. The last week, it would have been 13 past 10. So please be aware of this change so that you can be kind of on time tomorrow and other days of the week. I am happy, ladies and gentlemen, that you decided to join us anyway. This is what Atlantic International University does constantly as a pioneer in distance education to make sure that you be provided with plenty of other learning opportunities so that you don't miss out in anything about your program. Looking around to allow our presenter to conclude, but for some reason, he has disappeared as well. And I do understand he probably might have had some other obligations and he had to leave on time. Brothers and sisters, I am so sorry for what happened. I keep repeating myself. I enjoy so much being with and around you for each of these academic festivals. But for some reason, things didn't play out very well today, but God knows why. And of course, the lesson, this particular lesson from today's class is available. You will be able to watch it. It's been recorded later on our website. And if you prefer to have that sent to you, you may contact your individual tutors, and they will make it an obligation to provide you with a copy of that lesson. Very unfortunately, we have lost Professor Muhammad Al Faisal Shiraj, our presenter today, but thank you very much once again. Maybe Professor Shiraj is listening to us somewhere, somehow. So at this time, ladies and gentlemen, I just turned on all your microphones for the last words from you. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Franklin. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Ricardo Gonzalez, ladies and gentlemen. That is our provost
Thank you.
at Atlantic International University. We were
Thank
happy,
you so
Dr. Gonzalez,
Thank you
that
so
you were
much.
present. A big
Bye-bye.
thank you from my heart to
much.
each and every one of you, brothers and sisters.
Thank you so much.
Thank
You're
you,
very
Thank you.
welcome. I love you all. Be
I
blessed.
love you too. Thank you.
Bye bye now.
Bye.